Hi guys, this is Alex with MuseThemes.com. Today we're going to be showcasing a really cool new theme called Repose, which uses quite a few of our widgets alongside soft colours to create a clean and stylish aesthetic. I'm just going to run through the website here and point out some key features, then we'll jump into Muse and see how it looks at that end. So when we land on the page, we're faced with this large header area which features the logo for the site. As we can see, when we scroll down the site here, we can see that this logo actually decreases in size, it scales down. And this is done using our scale scroll widget. Now, as we scroll down further through the site, if we look at the navigation, we can see when we get to the top area here, it actually sticks to the top. And if we also look at the logo up here in the left, as we scroll down the page, this logo scales in, again using the scale scroll widget. So it's quite interesting how we've used two of these on the same page to create quite a powerful effect. So let's move on to our grid here, and I feel like this really encapsulates the powerful imagery that we've got behind this site and puts it all into one place, which is really visually appealing to anybody looking at it. We've also used quite a few cool features in this grid layout, including the flipping boxes widget like so. So as we can see, when we roll over, we can see the flipping box flip over to display the information on the back. We can also see the use of our MP3 widget, which has been custom coded with CSS inside Muse to make it match the rest of the theme that we have going on throughout this site. We can also see we've used a flipping box widget down here in the form of displaying social media on the flip side. So what's great about this is it uses the animation or transition widget to move between two states of an image, which I'll show a little bit more when we get into Muse, but a cool little feature nevertheless. We've also used a default composition slideshow, but we've added our own little nice animated arrows to either side to give it that extra little touch, and you can of course navigate through this slideshow. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to jump into Adobe Muse now and we'll see what we can do at that end. Okay, so now we're inside Muse, let's navigate over to our home page. And I'll zoom out a little bit so we can see a bit more. And we can see how we've used these scale scroll widgets here to create that effect of the two logos scaling when we scroll down the page. If we open up the panel options for this, we can see how these have been set up by editing the height after, the height before, and the pixels that you would have to scroll before it started to take effect. So I'm going to turn my attention now to the navigation, and you'd usually expect when you've got a navigation that is pinned to the top of the browser that it would actually be pinned from inside Muse. However, as we can see, it isn't pinned. So the way we've actually done this is we've used scrolling effects to make sure that when it gets to the top it will stay there whilst you're scrolling down the page. So I'm going to move on to how exactly this grid formation was set up, and as we can see the main part of it is a series of rectangles which have just got a fill applied to them. However, we can see our flipping box widgets here, and we can also see we've used our composition. So I'm just going to run through these three elements quickly. Okay, so the flipping box widget, if we just remove the front tile quickly, we can see on the back tile we've got our content including our MP3 widget. If we open up the panel options for this, we can see how I was talking about this CSS code. And we've just popped that in there using the new CSS insert field to give it that look that matches the rest of the theme of the site. So I'll pop that back, and if you want to find out how to properly set these up, you can view our full tutorial on that. I'm going to turn my attention to this flipping box down here very quickly, as these have these nice animated buttons that we saw in the preview. So if we select one of these, for example the Instagram one, we can see that if we go into the graphic styles, it has got a graphic style applied to it. Now what this does is it gives us something to name it when we come up to the state transition button. So we put our graphic style in there, and we can apply our settings like so transition time, etc. And then if you look at our tutorial on the buttons, you'll see how when rolled over it will display the other half of this image like so. Okay then, so now I'm going to move on finally on this page to the composition widget, which is our slideshow, which you can navigate through the images with. And the arrows on this are actually set up in the same way that these buttons are set up by using the state animation widget. However, it's a bit simpler with these. It's still the same concept. In the rollover state, they move outwards, and then in the normal state, they're back in their normal position. So when you roll over, you get a nice little animation on these buttons. Okay, so I'm quickly going to head over to our drinks page here, because I just want to show off some of the buttons that I didn't show off in the preview. I'll quickly show them now actually. So if we navigate to the drinks page, also notice the page transition widget. So as we leave the home page and go to the drinks page, we've got a nice fade into the page. If we come down the bottom here, we can see the order now, and if we hover over, a little arrow appears to the right of it. The same with the download drink menu. As we hover, we see the fill slide up from the bottom. So let's go back into Muse. So both of these things here, the order now and the download drink menu, work off the same concept as before. They use the state animation or state transition widget. All they are is they're giving graphic styles, then defined in these buttons here, and using the fill and the states. In the rollover, we can see the arrow appear, whereas in the normal, it's gone. And the same applies to the download drink menu. In the rollover, we have a black fill. In normal, we do not. It's also worth just pointing out that these buttons can be incredibly easily edited. So if you just double click on it and use the text tool, we can change this to whatever we want. So if we wanted just order, then we could do that like so. And again, if you want to look into how to do these or how to set these up, you can go and view our tutorial on the state transition widget on our website. Okay, so finally, I just want to hop over onto the news section of our site. And the reason I want to go here is because I think it's a really cool idea for a way to display news. Because obviously, Adobe Muse doesn't currently have any blog features. However, this is quite a cool way of setting up a manual blog. Again, we have featured our buttons here, which in the rollover state use that animation. But it's just a cool way of setting up a blog, and obviously these buttons will link to the next or previous articles. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this brief overview. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy using this theme. As always, if you have any questions or queries, don't hesitate to drop us a note. Until next time, goodbye.